मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान करि मंगल करि हो महा ग्रंथ करन को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज. So we were on to 8th chapter of Moksha Marg Prakashak, and in that we were discussing methodology of exposition in Charnanu Yoga. Okay, and under that we had covered the first point. Two paragraphs are still remaining, and in that first point, sir, it was described that sermons are given in two forms. One is only conventional form, and the other form is conventional along with the real form. Okay. So those who are capable of understanding conventional with real, they are given that way, and those who are not able to understand that much, they are only given sermons of conventional form. The idea is to get away from the sinful activity and get indulge in religious activity. Okay, so that is the purpose of Charnan Yoga. So we were on to page number 398, first paragraph. Further, where the discourse is given of Vyavhar along with Nischay. From there we are going to begin today, and the next two paragraphs will end the first point. So in total there are around 6 points. Okay, so this is the first point that we are discussing. So you have the textbook, you can read.
Further, where the discourse is given of Vyavhar along with Nischay, therefore attaining right belief, the preceptors sermonize to evolve faith in real tattvas. The real nature of tattvas is true bhutartha, bhutartha, and the conventional bhutarth.
Bhutarth means satyarth.
Yeah. And the conventional form is superimposed. With such faith and through the discrimination of self, non-self, and with the object of giving up attachment, etc., in non-self substances, the preceptor preaches to evolve faith in those tattvas. This is also explained by developing such faith, the deities other than Arhant, etc., are perceived to be false. Then automatically the belief in them gets quit. And for attaining right knowledge, the preceptors preach to know these tattvas, doubtlessly in their real form. The instrumental cause for attaining such knowledge is the study of Jain Shastras, Jain scriptures. Therefore, for achieving this purpose, the study of Jina scriptures automatically takes place. And for evolving right conduct, the preceptors preach to give up passions like attachment, etc. There, on partial or total destruction of intense attachment, etc., passions, the sinful activity which was existing partially or completely due to the instrumental effect gets quit. And in the presence of feeble passion, the practicing of vows worthy of a Shravaka and a Muni, homeless and possessionless, naked aesthetic, is found. And on destruction of feeble attachment also, the conduct of the Shuddhapayog, pure passionless conduct of the self, is evolved. This is also described in this Anu Yoga. Further, whatever real vow, invocation, worship, propagation of religion or meditation, etc., are found associated with a true believer having right faith, the same are preached here. The preachings are given in accordance with the true traditional path described in the Jina religion. Thus, one should know the two forms of discoursing the people. Further, in Charnanu Yoga,
Stop.
discourse is.
So first, let's finish this. This was the first point. Now the first point has ended. Further in Charnan Yoga will be second point. Okay. So the last two paragraphs that we were discussing, you were reading now, that is about the discourse given of Vyavhar along with Nischay. So this kind of discourse is given to those people who are capable of manifesting right belief. And these people are listening to the sermons, they evolve the right faith of seven fundamental, okay, the seven elements. So the real nature of tattvas is true, bhutarth, and their conventional form is superimposed. Superimposed means upchar, not real. With such faith and through the discrimination of self, non-self. Okay, this is Ved Vigyan between self and non-self. I myself am the self. Everything else apart from me is non-self for me. And with the object of giving up attachment. So everywhere the object is to give up attachment, not to manifest further attachment. Okay. So in the path of liberation, always one thing should be clear, that our primary motive is to give up attachment. Okay. And not to foster attachment. So by doing such, the preceptor teaches to evolve faith in those tattvas. Okay. So this was what about, and by doing this, the passion gets feeble by practicing this, and he is able to uh, acquire the post of a Sravak or a Muni. Okay. So Sravak, either he becomes a Sravak, which is a votary householder, and or a monk. And there he is observing the great woes. And as a Sravak, he is observing the small woes. Okay. And the and in this way, and in this fashion, the conduct of Shuddhopyog, pure passionless conduct of the self, is evolved. So this is how the Charnan Yoga helps us in attaining the right belief and moving further into the path of liberation. Wherever you see in Charnan Yoga, it is all about putting into practice the activities of mind, speech, and body. Okay. And through them, the passions automatically gets reduced, the belief in the fundamental elements evolves, and the person becomes a right believer, and then he goes on to become a Shravak or a Muni. Furthermore, whatever real woe, invocation, worship, propagation of religion or meditation, etc., are found associated with a true believer having right faith, the same are preached here. So associated with a true believer means if the person is in the fourth stage of spiritual development, such activities he would perform. If he is in the fifth stage, then the activities will differ. And if he has become a monk, then also the activities will differ. Okay. So on what stage, what kind of activities is possible is what is preached in Charnan Yoga. So the seeker does not get confused and does not feel depressed also, because he knows that this stage these things are very normal. At certain stage you are not able to renounce the sinful activities. Some sinful activities will still go on, as a householder. But when you become a monk, all kind of sinful activities you are able to renounce. So Charnan Yoga gives all this description, and so the Sravak is at a comfort level, while navigating the path of liberation. Now the second point. Uh, Again, you have to read only, because Chaitanya Prakash ji won't read. Hmm.
I couldn't hear, sir. Anything?
Yeah, from second point you have to
Yeah,
further in Charnan Yoga.
yeah. Further, in Charnanu Yoga, discourse is given for giving up the acts of intense passions and adopting the acts of feeble passions. Although indulging in passions is assuredly harmful, yet if total renunciation of passions is not possible, then in whatever measure passions are reduced to the extent one is benefited. Such is the purpose of these preachings. For example, such jeeves who are not able to give up totally the desire of indulging in household activities, constructing temple, etc., enjoying carnal pleasures, indulging in anger, passion, etc., are preached to engage themselves in the acts of worshipping, spreading the truth, constructing and decorating the Jinnah's temple, etc., or dancing, singing religious songs before the Jinnah's idol, etc., or helping the religious persons, etc. Because traditionally in these activities, passions are not fostered, but in sinful activities, traditionally the passions are fostered. Therefore, the jivas are briefed to give up sinful acts and to engage in foresaid acts. Further, in whatever small or great measure sinful acts are likely to be given up, in that measure the jiva is preached to give up sinful acts and to develop right belief and partial vows. And those jivas who have totally given up the desire of indulging in household activities are preached to give up a forceful virtuous activities like worship, etc., and by relinquishing all sinful acts to adopt the great vows, etc. But if it is known that the passions are only partially reduced, then such jivs are preached to adopt the activities of compassion, religious preaching, observing pratikraman, repentance for the faults done knowingly or unknowingly, etc. Wherever passions in their totality are found to have been destroyed, there remains nothing to be done. Therefore, they need no preachings. Such is the sequence to be followed in the path of liberation.
Stop. So you see, the purpose in Charnan Yoga is to move from intense passion to mild passion, okay, and from mild passion to pure passion, pure passionless state, okay, Shuddho pure. So Ashubh to Ashubh se Shubh mein and Shubh se Shuddh mein. Nobody can move directly from Ashubh to Shuddh. In between, the Subh has to come, okay. So depending on the stage at which the seeker is, the preceptor preaches him to give up the sinful activities and to get indulge in religious activities. And after a certain level, when he is quite okay in sinful activity, in religious activities, then the uh, preceptors preaches them to get into pure uh, passionless manifestation, because that is the true religion, okay. So at that level, even the auspicious activities are to be renounced. But if you don't reach up to the pure passionless state, and in between if you leave the auspicious activity, then you will get into inauspicious activity. And when you get into inauspicious activity, your passions will rise and you will bind karmas which will land up you in hell and subhuman state. Okay. So that is not advisable. So depending on the stage that you are, you have to keep moving towards a state of complete detachment or passionless. Okay. So like if you are moving from fourth stage to fifth stage, then the small wars will come in your life. And then when you are well versed in that and you are quite comfortable in that, then you will be motivated to give up household life and be ascetic. Okay. That is where you are able to observe the great woes. Okay. But again, it depends on the passions. Okay. So you have to navigate looking at your own passions, and preceptors also preach you in similar manner. Okay. So when nothing is happening, then they will tell you to get into compassional activities, religious preaching, observing pratikraman, repentance for the faults done knowingly or unknowingly, etc. So each activity in Charnan Yoga has its own importance. You cannot discard any of the activities, but you have to look at which stage you are in. So at some stage, even reciting Namokar mantra is helpful. Okay. And at some stage, even the uh, you can say the reading of the scriptures and other kind of auspicious activities are also to be renounced. Okay. So you have to navigate looking at your own stages. Okay. So such is the sequence to be followed in the path of liberation. Now the third point. Further in Charnan Yoga, even
Even by
by
arousing
huh, okay.
Even by arousing passion, the passionate beings are encouraged to give up sinful acts and to follow religious practices. For example, by arousing fear passion, For example, by arousing fear passion through description of hellish miseries to be the result of sinful acts. The jivas are encouraged to give up sinful acts and by arousing greed passion through the description of pleasures of heavens, etc., to be the fruit of virtuous deeds. The jivas are actuated to follow religious deeds, and this jiv in, indulges in sins due to the feeling of attachment towards sensual pleasures, body, sun, wealth, etc., and remains disinterested in religion by describing the sensuous pleasures to be the cause of death, afflictions, etc. The feeling of detachment is aroused in them. By describing the body, etc., to be impure, the disgust passion is aroused there. By describing the sons, etc., to be the partaker of wealth, etc., aversion is aroused in them, and by describing wealth, etc., to be the cause of death, afflictions, the feeling of disliking is aroused in them. By adopting such different means, the intense attachment in the sensuous objects is destroyed, and they are encouraged to give up sinful acts and start following religious practices. Further, by chanting the name of supreme souls, invocation, worship, charity, chastity, etc., the applications of poverty, etc., get finished in this world, and sun, wealth, etc., are attained through such descriptions. Greed passion is aroused, and jeeves are encouraged to follow religious practices. Similarly, one should know other example. Here lies a question as to what is the purpose of arousing one type of passion by discouraging to give up another type of passion. Severe cold and fever, both are diseases. But if the physician diagnoses that someone is dying due to severe cold, then he makes effort to develop fever in him. And after the fever has developed, if the chance of his surviving be there, then afterwards he tries to eradicate the fever also. Similarly, all passions are worth giving up. But knowing that some jeeves are indulging in sinful acts, due to passional feelings, the true preceptors try to arouse such passion in them, which encourages them to follow virtuous acts. Later on, if it is found that such persons have developed religious instincts, then they are encouraged, then they encourage them to uproot the passions. Such is the purpose.
Stop.
Further in Charnamyu Yoga,
Stop. So the third point, even by arousing passions, okay, the passionate beings are encouraged to give up sinful acts. Okay. So the idea is to renounce the bigger sins and get into smaller sins. Okay. In this way, the level of attachment will go down, So it's a gradual process. You cannot renounce all the sinful activities at one stroke. So it is better that you first give up major sinful activities and then you indulge in small passions. Although passions are also a cause of bondage, but compared to the major sinful activities that he was indulging in, these small kinds of passions are still welcome. For example, by arousing fear passion, through description of hellish miseries. Okay. So by describing the misery suffered by a hellish being, fear passion is aroused in him to be the result of sinful acts. Thus, jivas are encouraged to give up sinful acts. Okay. So by showing that if you are indulging in such sinful acts, you will end up in hellish, and in hell, this is the kind of misery you will undergo. So automatically fear comes in him, and because of that fear, he leaves those major sinful activities. Okay. So although on one hand he is still manifesting fear, which is again a passion, but that major, compared to that major sinful activities that was he indulging in, this fear passion is quite mild compared to that. Okay. So these kind of preachings are given in Charnan Yoga. Charnan Yoga, the main criteria for Charnan Yoga is to get you self-indulge in um mind, speech, and body activities. Okay. These some of the best practices are explained to give up the major sinful activities and indulge in small passional activities. Another example is given that by arousing greed passion, lobh, through the description of pleasures of heaven. स्वर्ग में जाओगे तो ये मिलेगा वो मिलेगा, so he is by arousing greed passion through descriptions of heavenly pleasures, to be the fruit of virtuous deed. And if you want to get to heaven, you indulge in virtuous deed. The jivas are actuated to follow religious deed, and this jiva indulges in sins due to feeling of attachment towards sensual pleasures, body, son, wealth, and remains disinterested in religion. Okay. So now we will describe one after the other. First one is the sensuous pleasure. There will be body, then son, and then wealth. Four things are there. So first one, by describing the sensuous pleasures to be the cause of death, afflictions, etc., the feeling of detachment is aroused in them. Okay. So the purpose is to develop the feeling of detachment. Okay. And not fostering the attachment. The second, by describing the body, etc., to be impure, the disgust passion is aroused there. See, body is impure. It is full of stool, urine, and whatnot. There is nothing to get attracted to it. So by giving such description, disgust passion is aroused. So on one hand, he is uh, lessening the attachment, and on the other hand, he is manifesting the disgust passion. Okay. But it is a small passion compared to the attachment that he had with the body. Then the third one, by describing the sons, etc., to be the partaker of wealth. Okay. These people are only interested in taking over your wealth. Okay. Aversion is aroused. Okay. So because of this aversion, that intense attachment or infatuation is reduced. Okay. And by describing wealth, the fourth one, to be the cause of death, afflictions, etc., the feeling of liking is aroused in them. So he was so much attached with the wealth that he possessed. So to arouse a feeling of disliking to it, he is being explained that the wealth is again a cause of death. People come and kill you to get the wealth, and there are, the more the possessions, the more the passions are there. Okay. So all this explanation is given to develop a feeling of disliking in them. So in the next paragraph, the example is given that if you are having a fever from severe cold, the doctor will advise you to take medicines which will develop heat in your body. Okay. And if you are getting a disease of fever, okay, then you will be advised cold medicines. Okay. So both are having a fever, but one is having due to cold and one is having due to heat. So for both of them, the medicines won't be the same. So the preceptors, the acharyas, they are psychologists and they know what is to be prescribed at what time. Okay. For fever, somebody he would prescribe the cold medicines, and for somebody else, he would prescribe the hot medicines. Okay. So first, the physician diagnoses that someone is dying due to severe cold. Then he makes effort to develop fever in him. And after the fever is developed, if the chance of his surviving be there, then afterwards he tries to irrigate the fever also. Okay. So these are the some of the things that in Charnan Yoga it is advised and preached to get into better positions. Similarly, all passions are worth giving up, but knowing that some jivas are indulging in sinful acts due to passional feelings, the true preceptors try to arouse such passions in them, which encourages them to follow virtuous acts. Later on, if it is found that such persons have developed religious instinct, then they encourage them to uproot the passions. Such is the purpose. Okay. So it is very difficult to understand and analyze what the preceptors are preaching, because for two persons having same kind of problem, but the causes are different, so the solutions are different. It is not one type of solution for all. Okay. So these are the some of the qualities that preceptor develops, and because of that he is the leader of the congregation. Now the fourth point.
Further, in Charnanyu Yoga, through different reasonings, descriptions are made in such a manner that the Jeeves are encouraged to follow religion by quitting sinful acts. The true preceptors explain through worldly illustrations, logic, examples, judicially, and sometimes they quote examples from other religions also, as in Sukta Muktivali. The goddess Lakshmi is described to be an inhabitant of lotus flower, and from the viewpoint that both poison and Lakshmi are the product of ocean. She is stated to be the sister of poison. In the same way, the descriptions are made elsewhere also. Although much of such examples, etc., are false, yet they foster the real purpose. Therefore, there is no fault in this. Somebody may say there is the fault of falsehood lies here. Even if it is false but fosters the real purpose, then it is not treated to be false. And if it is true also but fosters false purpose, then in reality it is false only. In the use of rhetoric, logic, naming, etc., the true and falsehood are not decided on the basis of words but on the basis of purpose. For example, a town with some decoration is stated to be similar to Indrapuri, heavenly town. This is obviously false, but because it fosters the purpose of decoration, it is not treated to be false. And in this town, stick is found with the umbrella and nowhere else. This is obviously false because use of stick is found elsewhere also. But because unlawful persons are very few, there and lawful persons are not punished. Since it fosters this purpose, hence it is not false. Further, Jupiter, Brihaspati's name, is written as Suguru, the preceptor of gods, and Mars, Mangal, name is written as Kuja. So such names are taken from other faiths. Their literal meaning is false, but the name signifies the meaning of that particular thing, therefore it is not false. Thus, the examples, etc., drawn from other faiths are false. Here, the objective is not to foster faith in those examples, but to foster faith in the purpose, and because of the purpose is true, hence there lies no fault.
Hmm. So if you don't understand these all points, then all the preachings that are given from Charnan Yoga, you will have always have confusion. Okay. So here, through different reasonings, descriptions are made in such a manner that the jivas are encouraged to follow religion by quitting sinful acts. So at the base is always giving up sinful activity and indulge in religious activity. Okay. The true perceptor explains through worldly illustrations logic, examples judiciously, and sometimes they quote examples from other religions also. So the question is why they give examples from other religions also? Because the purpose is not to follow that religion, the purpose is to make you understand a certain viewpoint. Okay. As in Sukta Muktavali, the goddess Lakshmi. So this is not a Jain story, this is from some other faith. Okay. Here the goddess Lakshmi is described to be an inhabitant of lotus flower, Kamal Vasini, lotus flower. Okay. And from the viewpoint that both poison and Lakshmi are the product of ocean, she is stated to be the sister of poison. So at one place, he was referred as goddess Lakshmi. At some other place, he is being referred as a sister of poison. In the same way, descriptions are made elsewhere also. Okay. So depending on the purpose, the examples are given, the descriptions are given. Only thing that we have to look at is whether the purpose is getting solved or not. Although many such examples are false, yet they foster the real purpose. Okay. So if it fosters the real purpose, then there is no fault in this. Then the question, somebody may say here that the fault of falsehood lies here. Even if it is a false, but fosters the real purpose, then it is not treated to be false. Okay. Because it is fostering the real purpose. And if it is true also, but fosters false purpose, then in reality, it is a false only. In the use of rhetoric is alankar, alankar, sringara alankars and all kinds of uh, whatever we have in literature. Okay. In the use of rhetoric, logic, naming, etc., the truth and falsehood are not decided on the basis of words, but on the basis of purpose. For example, a town with some decoration is stated to be similar to Indrapuri, heavenly town. This is obviously false because the town is not that great to be compared to a heavenly town. But because there is some decoration, okay, and it fosters the purpose of decoration, it is not treated to be false. And in this town, stick is found with the umbrella and nowhere else. This is obviously false because use of stick is found elsewhere also. But because unlawful persons are very few there and lawful persons are not punished because they don't indulge in any wrongful activity. Okay. They abide by the rules. So they are not punished. Since it fosters this purpose, hence it is not false. Okay. So everything you have to connect with the purpose. Further, another example. Jupiter Brahaspati. Brahaspati is Vishnu. Vishnu's other name is Brahaspati. So Vishnu's name is written as Sur Guru, the preceptor of gods. Okay. And Mars, Mangal Graha, name is written as Kuja. So such names are taken from other faiths. Their literal meaning is false, but that name signifies the meaning of that particular thing. Therefore, it is not false. Okay. So people do use names of other faiths also to serve its purpose. Okay. So whatever examples come in their mind at that point of time, they recite those examples. And there is nothing wrong in it because the purpose is not wrong. Purpose is always correct. So all things are justified. Thus, the examples, etc., drawn from other faiths are false. How the objective is not to foster, here, the objective is not to foster faith in those examples, but to foster faith in the purpose. And because the purpose is true, hence there lies no fault. Such is the methodology of description in Charnan Yoga. And if you are able to understand it in the right perspective, you will never make a mistake in understanding that. Now the fifth point. Further in Charnan Yoga, such discourses comprehensible. Priyanka, can you read? You are on
Jai
mute.
Jinendra.
Yeah, fine.
Sir, I don't have the textbook with me right now.
Okay,
Sir, I'm
okay.
just this.
And one more thing is coming to my mind. I am seeing last few weeks that you always join late. So do you
Yes.
want the timings to be little later on? It's not suiting you?
Sir, half an hour later will be okay because I
Okay,
sometimes drop off my daughter and all. So,
okay.
sir, it's kind of like I miss out and I'm driving most of the times during
Oh,
that time.
okay, okay.
So, screen sharing and all, sir, I'm not able to do. Like
Yeah, yeah,
right now,
yeah.
also, I'm,
No problem. But like what I'm worrying now is that we have 10 students left, okay? And out of
yeah,
which only 2, 3 are attending, okay? So I want to explore once more time that what are the timings that suits each one. And if required, I can take two classes simultaneously in a day so that both of people in different time zones are covered, you know. This is
okay, sir.
not something that you are going to do again and again, and I want
Yeah,
you to do it in a very great manner, and I don't want you to miss out just because of the timings, you know. So
no,
we
no,
No,
will
sir,
plan
absolutely.
it out.
we could do at 9:15. No problem with us. I think so.
Okay,
India's okay. I think so.
okay,
We all should be okay with it.
okay.
So
So
she gets
Uh,
half an hour. Yeah.
so I'll put a message in the group, and I
Yeah.
will conduct a poll, okay,
Yeah.
and the people will give their preferences of time, and let's see what we can do, you know.
okay,
Because
thank
this is not we are going to read again and again, and if you are not doing it very deeply, then it will only just be a informative kind of things, you know. The
you.
idea
Yes, sir.
is
Sir, I
to understand to that level that automatically it gets applied in your life and your life becomes blissful. And once your purpose is solved, you will be more inclined to follow it more seriously, you know. Unless and
yes,
until
sir.
we don't see the benefit, we don't like to indulge in such activities. We are already moving against the flow. This is not something that is very common across people in this universe. So we need some push from each and every one of you to get into this kind of studies. Okay. So we will have a opinion of all and then we'll decide what best we can do. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, sir, I can't read today.
No, no, don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, Rajeshri, you continue. No problem. Fifth point.
Further, in Charnanya Yoga, such discourses, comprehensible by non-omniscience, are given from general point of view with the prominence of worldly tendencies, but the discourses are not given from the subtleness point of view, comprehensible by omniscience, because it cannot be practiced. Here, the purpose is to encourage the religious practice. For instance, it is stated that an anuvrati, the follower of small vows, does not commit injury to mobile beings, whereas in the activities like sexual intercourse, injury to the mobile beings is caused. He too knows that in Jinvani it is stated that here mobile beings are found, but he has no intention of causing injury to mobile beings and does not indulge in such injury, which is worldly affairs, is called injury of mobile beings. Therefore, from this point of view, he is the renouncer of injury to mobile beings. Further, the monk is said to be the renouncer of injury even to one sense, immobile beings. But the monks make movement, etc., on earth and in water, etc. There are total absence of even mobile beings is not found because the space occupied even by mobile beings is so small that it may not be perceivable by eyes, and their existence is found on earth and in water, etc. only. This is this the monks know from Jinvani scriptures, and some monks know this through clairvoyance, etc. But but they do not have the intention of committing injury to mobile, immobile beings by negligence. And in the world, indulgence in activities like digging of earth and use of unboiled water, etc., is called injury to immobile beings, and causing injury to gross mobile beings is called injury to mobile beings. The monks do not indulge in these activities, therefore, the monk is said to be a total renouncer of injury. From the same point of view, he is stated to be the renouncer of untruth theft, chastity, and possession. I go on, sir.
Yeah, you go on.
From the viewpoint of the omniscience, the false speech vibration in the soul is stated to be present up to the 12th gunstan. The assimilation of adatta karma, parmanu, specific atoms, etc., other non-self substance up to the 13th gunstan, the rise of sex passion up to the 9th gunstan, internal attachment up to the 10th gunstan, the external possessions like samvasaran, etc., congregation are found associated with the omniscient also. But due to the absence of negligence, the monk does not have any sinful intention. And those activities which in the world are stated as this person tells lies, steals, commits adultery, keeps possession, etc., are not found in the monks. Therefore, they are stated to be the renouncers of untruth, etc. And among the mulguns, fundamental rise of the monks, the renunciation of the objects of five senses is described, but knowing through the senses has not stopped. And if the attachment, aversion, passion in the object of senses would have been totally destroyed, then the yathakyat,
Yathakyat charitra.
yathakatya charitra, perfect right conduct, would have been involved to them. But this has not happened. Yet, in the broad sense, the desire of objects of senses has ended. Therefore, they are stated to have renounced the objects of senses. Similarly, one should know elsewhere also. Should I go on?
Yeah, yeah. 3 paragraphs more. Then the 5th point will end.
Okay. Moreover, whatever a votary renounces and practices, all that is according to the system of Charnanu Yoga and worldly tradition. For example, someone renounces injury to mobile beings. Here he has renounced that injury, which is in Charnanu Yoga and worldly tradition is called injury to mobile beings. The renunciation of such injuries to mobile beings which are perceived in omniscience cannot be possible. Here, that injury to mobile beings which has which he has renounced is like this: not to think of its renunciation by mind, not to talk of it as renunciation by words, not to act through body is renunciation by body. It should be known that other renunciations and practices are also followed in the same way by this method only. Here arises a question that in Karnanu Yoga, the description is found precisely as it is. From the omniscience point of view, there in the sixth gunstan, the total absence of the 12 kinds of non-abstinence, avratis, is stated. How is it? Non-abstinence also is included in vibratory activity, yoga, and passions, kashai. But there also the non-abstinence is defined to be the absence of renunciation from Charnanu Yoga point of view. Hence, those are absent there. The mental non-abstinence is stated to be absent, but the mental thoughts are found in the monk. Yet it should be known that due to the absence of vicious proclivity of unrestrained mind, the absence of mental non-abstinence is described.
Stop. So in Charnan Yoga, the description is given such that whatever we can comprehend, okay, from the general point of view with the prominence of worldly tendency. But the discourses are not given from the subtle point of view because such descriptions are given in Karnan Yoga. But in Charnan Yoga, only those gross activities which we can comprehend and which we can understand and what people can see from outside are only practiced. Okay. So Charnan Yoga, it is all activities of mind, speech and body only. But in Karnan Yoga, the description is very subtle as seen by the omniscient being. But in Charnan Yoga, it is all gross activities only. For instance, it is stated that an anuvrati, the follower small vows, does not commit injury to mobile beings. What is this mobile beings? Two sensed and above are mobile beings. And immobile being is one sensed only. Okay. So the follower of small vows, that means he is in the 5th stage of spiritual development, does not commit injury to mobile beings. Whereas in the activities like sexual intercourse, the injury to mobile beings, okay, is caused. He too knows that in Jinwani omniscient preachings it is stated that here mobile beings are found, but he has no intention of causing injury. So now it all depends on the intention. The intention is not to cause injury, and at certain stages some things are unavoidable in those stages. Okay, so that is not called to be a cause of injury to mobile beings, because the intention is not there and something is happening because of the passion at that stage, at that point of time, then it is not considered to be a activity of injury. Okay, whereas in worldly activity it is called an activity of injury of mobile beings. Therefore, from this point of view, he is the renouncer of injury to mobile beings. Although he is indulging in injury of mobile beings, but he is still proclaimed to be a renouncer of injury to mobile beings. So in Charnanyog, such kind of descriptions are given. Further, if you see that above 7th stage, so up to 6th stage, the negligence is there. Okay. But when a monk moves into the 7th stage, it is a stage of deep introspective meditation. 7th stage is Sudopyog, no activity, totally engrossed in himself. Okay. And here it is stated that up to 12th Gunasthan, the assimilation of adat karma parmanu, specific atoms, other etc., other non-self substance up to 13th stage of spiritual development, the rise of sex passion up to 9th stage of spiritual development. Now you see in the 7th only the monk is into deep introspective meditation. So how can a sexual activity happen up to the 9th stage? But all this is being described from the omniscient point of view, because omniscient has seen it. Karnan Yog says, so they call it. But Charnan Yog does not recognize those things. Charnan Yog says accordingly as per the mind, speech and body activities only, and not the what the Karnan Yog specifies, you know. The external possession like Samosaran, etc., congregation are found associated with omniscient also. But due to absence of negligence, the monk does not have any sinful intention. Okay? Because the monks are the followers of the 5 great woes. So they have renounced the 5 sins completely. Okay? There is no sinful activity in their life. Okay? As far as intention goes. And those activity which in the world are stated as this person tell lies, steals, commits adultery, keeps possessions, etc., are not found in the monks. Therefore, they are stated to be the renouncer of untruth. Okay. So Charnanyog will describe all in a gross manner and not in a subtle manner. Okay. And among the fundamental rights of a monk, the renunciation of the objects of 5 senses is described. But knowing through the senses has not stopped. And if the attachment, aversion, passion in the object of senses would have been totally destroyed, then the Yathakya Charitra, perfect right conduct, would have been evolved to them. But this has not happened. Okay. So for a monk, he is still having one level of passions left. Sanjalan Kashai. Okay. Sanjalan Kasai still exists. Okay. If Sanjalan Kasai also goes away, then he is supposed to be evolving the Yathakya Charitra, perfect right conduct. But that is not evolved yet. Okay. Yet in broad sense, the desire or object of senses has ended. Therefore, they are stated to have renounced the object of senses. So Charnan Yog says in this manner only. Similarly, one should know elsewhere also. Okay. Moreover, whatever he renounces and practices all that is according to the system of Charnan Yoga and worldly tradition. For example, someone renounces injury to mobile beings. Mobile beings means thrusts, 2 cents to 5 cents. Here, he has renounced that injury, which in Charnan Yoga and worldly tradition is called injury to mobile beings. Not the subtle one. Subtle one they cannot avoid, Only the gross injury to mobile beings has been renounced. The renunciation of such injuries to mobile beings which are perceived in omniscience cannot be possible. It is not possible. Charnan Yoga will only say the gross activities that can be avoided at that stage. Okay. Here, that injury to mobile beings which he has renounced is like this. Not to think of it is renunciation by mind. Not to talk of it is renunciation by words. And not to act through body is renunciation by body. It should be known that other renunciation and practices are also followed in the same way and by this method only. Now the question from Karnan Yoga. The description is found precisely as it is from the omniscience point of view. Okay. So Karnan Yoga has this unique methodology to depict things as seen by an omniscient being. Therefore, in the sixth Gunasthan, the total absence of the 12 kinds of non-absistence is stated. How is it so? Answer. Non-abstinence means non-restraint, avirati. Okay. Non-abstinence also is included in vibratory activity, yoga, and passions, kashais. But there also the non-abstinence is defined to be the absence of renunciation from Charnan Yoga point of view. Hence, those are absent there. Okay. So the renunciation will happen, but from the Charnan Yoga and not from the Karnan Yoga. Okay. The mental non-absistence is stated to be absent, but the mental thoughts are found in the monk. Yet it should be known that due to absence of vicious proclivity of unrestrained mind, the absence of mental non-absistence is described. Okay. So all the things in Charnan Yoga are being described from a gross level that we can make out from the mind, speech, and body activities. Okay. It is not possible to observe those practices as seen by the omniscient point of view and as described in Karnan Yoga in such stage. Okay. It is only from Charnan Yoga that is possible. Now the sixth and the last point, and maybe today's last point. Okay, Rajesh, you have to only read it.
Moreover, in Charnanyu Yoga, the names, etc., various terms are stated from the conventional worldly tradition point of view. For example, the true believer is stated to be the true receptant and misbeliever as unworthy receptant. Here, one who has faith in the Jiva, in Jin Deva, the conqueror, omniscient God, should be known as a true believer, and the one who does not have such faith as misbeliever, because giving of donation is advised in Charnanyu Yoga. Therefore, one should understand the meaning of right belief, wrong belief as stated in Charnanyu Yoga only. But if the right belief, wrong belief are considered as per Karnanyu Yoga, then the same Jeev who is in the 11th Gunsthanak might fall in the first Gunstan in one Antar Morat within 48 minutes only. In such a situation, how could the decision about the true recipient and the unworthy recipient be taken by the donor? Further, if the viewpoint of Dravyanyu Yoga is taken about the existence of right belief, wrong belief, then in congregation of monks, there are both Dravya Lingas and Bhavlings, monks also. Firstly, correct decision about them is very difficult because the external conduct of both is found to be similar. And even if by chance a true believer may be able to judge correctly a Dravya Lingi on the basis of some symptom, and if he does not adore him, then others will doubt as to why he did not adore him. In this way, if the false status of a monk gets disclosed, then it will create controversy in the congregation of monks. And therefore, here the statement should be understood from the viewpoint of conventional right belief and wrong belief. Here, someone may ask, how would a right believer adore a Dravyalingi monk because he considers the Dravyalingi to be inferior in qualities to himself? In a answer, in a Dravyalingi monk, the practice of conventional religion is found in great measure, and adoration is also a conventional practice only. For example, there is a rich person, but he offers respect to a person who is elder in age from the parentage point of view. Similarly, the true believer possesses right faith, but he offers adoration from the viewpoint of conventional religion to that person who is higher in status from the conventional religion point of view, treating him to be possessing greater merits. Similarly, those jivs who observe fast in greater measures are called tapasvi, aesthetic observing penance, although one who indulges greatly in meditation and scriptural studies is a superior aesthetic. Nevertheless, here in Charnanu Yoga, there is prominence of external penance. Therefore, it is called an aesthetic tapasvi. Similarly, one should know about the terminology used herein. Thus, the methodology of expression Charnanu Yoga should be known with various other different forms as stated above.
So the last point, the names, the various terms are stated from the conventional worldly tradition point of view. Okay. So Charnan Yoga, whatever we describe in Charnan Yoga, it is absolutely from the conventional worldly traditional point of view. For example, the true believer, Samyak Drashti, is stated to be a true recipient, and misbeliever, Mithya Drashti, as unworthy recipient. So when the question comes of donation, whom you should donate, okay? So ideally it is supposed to be that the minimum stage, the minimum qualification to be a recipient of donation should be at least a true believer, okay? If he is not a true believer, then he is not the right recipient, okay? But how do we know that such person is a true believer or not? We cannot make out from outside, right? So giving donation is an activity of Charnanyu, okay? So from that perspective, you have to consider who is a right believer from Charnanyu, okay? You cannot consider the Dravyan Yoga, whether he has got the correct understanding of 7 fundamentals or not. You cannot take it from Karnan Yoga also, okay? That the delusion has gone or not, you cannot make out. So from Charnan Yoga only, you want to give a donation. Donation is an activity of Charnan Yoga. So you consider the right believer definition from the Charnan Yoga only. So if a person who is going to temple every day, very religious, observing all the observances, right? Then he is stated to be a Dharmatma from Charnanyu. Although he may be a misbeliever, but Charnanyu will say him that he is a Dharmatma. He follows his duties very sincerely. Okay. So this is how the Charnan explains. Here, one who has faith in Jindeva, the conqueror, omniscient God, etc., should be known as true believer. Only if he is coming towards true God, true scriptures, and true preceptor, then he is considered to be a true believer. Okay. And one who does not have such a faith as misbeliever, because giving of donation is advised in Charnan Yoga. Therefore, one should understand the meaning of right belief, wrong belief as stated in Charnan Yoga only. But if the right belief, wrong belief are considered as per Karnan Yoga, then the same Jeev who was in 11th Gunastan might fall in the first Gunastan within 48 minutes. So basically the monk is in the deep introspective meditation, and he is moving ahead in the ladder of spiritual stages. Okay. So from 7th to 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. But from outside, we can just see that he is sitting into meditation. We don't know about the internal development, right? Now, from 11th, he starts falling. because 11th is the stage of spiritual development where everyone falls compulsorily. Nobody goes from 12th from 11th. It is always directly from the 10th to 12th. Okay. So from 11 he has to fall. And now while falling, he has reached one first Gunasthan. But from outside, nobody knows it. Because from outside, he is just sitting into meditation. Okay. In such a situation, how could the decision about the true recipient and the unworthy recipient be taken by the donor? That is the question. Okay. We cannot make out whether he is in the first stage or is in the 7th stage or is in the 11th stage. We cannot make out from outside. So how do we take a decision and how do we donate? Whether he is worthy of giving donation or not, how do we decide? Again, the same logic that Charnan Yoga describes from the angle of mind, speech and body activities, and you should consider that only. Further, if the viewpoint of Dravyan Yoga is taken about the existence of right belief, wrong belief, then in the congregation of monks, there are both Dravyalingis and Bhavlingi monks also. You know what is Dravyalingi and what is Bhavlingi? You know, Rajeshri ji, the difference between a Dravyalingi and Bhavlingi?
The right believer and the wrong believer.
Yeah,
The,
to some extent it is correct, but not the exact correct answer. Priyanka, you would try?
No, sir. Actually, Dravyalingi, is it more like they have just renounced the things, but
Right,
Bhavlingi, they've renounced even the, like, the kashayas and the
right, absolutely.
passions.
Right. So Dravyalingi is the monk. Okay, both are monks. Dravyaling is a monk who is observing all the 28 fundamentals very sincerely. You cannot find a fault in any of the attributes of the 28 fundamentals. Okay. That much strict conduct he is maintaining, Dravyalingi Muni. But he is not having the right belief. This is the first case of Dravyalingi. Okay, he is not having a right belief. Then there are some Dravyalingi monks who are a right believer, but they are still in the 5th stage and 4th stage. They are still in the 4th stage and 5th stage. Right believer, 4th stage, 5th stage, but still they are Dravyalingi. Because to get into Bhavling, you have to renounce the 3 levels of passions. Means you have to be compulsorily in the 6th or 7th stage. Although from outside you are a monk, you are a naked, possessionless monk outside. But inside, what levels of passions has gone? If not a single level of passion has gone, then you are still a misbeliever. If the first level of passion, Anantanubandhi Kasai, has gone, you are still in the 4th stage. If the second level, Apratyakhana Varan Kashai, has gone, then you are in the 5th stage. Still you are a Dravyaling. Although you are a right believer, that is true, but still you are a Dravyaling. Now, when you get rid of the 3rd level of passion, okay, Pratyakhyana Varana, Anantanubandhi, Apratyakhan, then Pratyakhan. So, if the Pratyakhan quadruplet of passion has gone, then you are a true Bhavlingi monk. Okay. So, this is the basic difference between the Dravyaling and Bhavling. Todarmalji has taken this example every now and then because Dravyaling is a unique example where he is observing all the outside activity absolutely perfectly. Still his belief is wrong. Okay. So he has taken this example that even if you are observing all the right activities, still if your belief is not true, then you are still a false believer. Okay. In such a situation, okay. Further, if the viewpoint of Dravya is taken about the existence of right belief, wrong belief, then in the congregation of monks, there are both Dravyalingis and Bhavlingis monks also. Firstly, correct decision about them is very difficult. You cannot make out because the external conduct of both is found to be similar. And even if by chance a true believer may be able to judge correctly a Dravyalingi on the basis of some symptom, okay, and if he does not adore him, then others will doubt as to why did he not adore him. So you have to maintain that protocol. Whoever is a Digambar saint, naked, possessionless, observing the 28 fundamentals, has to be adored in the same manner as a Bhavlingi. There could not be difference in Charnan Yoga. Okay. So, in this way, if the false status of a monk gets disclosed, if you don't obey him, if you don't adore him, then his status will be disclosed. Then it will create controversy in the congregation of monks. Therefore, here the statement should be understood from the viewpoint of conventional right belief and wrong belief. Now coming on to the last paragraph. However, someone may ask, how would a right believer adore a Dravyalingi monk? Because he considers the Dravyalingi to be inferior in qualities even to himself. Because he is a right believer and Dravyalingi is still a wrong believer. Okay. Answer. In a Dravyalingi monk, the practice of conventional religion is found in very great measure. Which one? The practice of conventional Vyavhar dharma, Vyavhar religion, okay, is found in very great measure. And adoration is also a conventional practice only. Okay. For example, there is a rich person, but he offers respect to a person who is elder in age from the parentage point of view. Similarly, the true believer possesses right faith, but he affords adoration from the viewpoint of conventional religion to that person who is higher in status from the conventional religion point of view, treating him to be possessing greater merits. Similarly, those jivas who observe fast in greater measure are called tapasvi, ascetic observing penance. Although one who indulges greatly in meditation and spiritual study is a superior ascetic. Nevertheless, here in Charnan Yoga, there is prominence of external penance. Okay. Therefore, he is called an ascetic tapasvi. Similarly, one should know about all other terminology used herein. Thus, the methodology of exposition in Charnan Yoga should be known with various other different forms as stated above. Okay. So this is what we have completed. Tomorrow we will start methodology of exposition in Dravyanuyog. Okay. Small topic only, 1, 2, 3, 3.5 page. So probably tomorrow only we'll finish it. And then we will move on to the tradition of exposition in Anuyog, the next topic. That also we can cover tomorrow itself, small topic. Then another one, the purpose of works on grammar logic, that also is a small topic. Then comes the main topic of this whole chapter, removal of misconjectures about Anuyogas. This is very interesting, and if you don't understand this properly, then somewhere or the other you will definitely make mistakes in interpreting the right meaning of the sermons. Okay. So this we will do very vividly, and so tomorrow we'll start with the methodology of Dravyanyog, page number 405. Okay. Today's class was class number 11. Tomorrow will be 12. Okay. So this is all we have, and I will share in the WhatsApp group in poll. So you should, I will mention 4-5 timings. You give your preference and then we can see what we can do about it. Okay. I will also give some morning timings also. Okay. So if somebody is convenient to attend in morning, we can do that also. But let's see, first find out how the majority of they are not attending because of the timing difference or there are some other reasons. Some have given already.
Sir, sir, if I,
Yeah.
sorry, Rajesh, sir.
Uh-huh.
Sir, mornings I can do on weekends only, sir, Saturday, Sunday, because I'll be at work until
So
evening.
what time, like what is the time right now? They are in Dubai?
So right now it's 8:30.
8:30. Okay. Okay. So what I'm planning is this
8:30,
class
sir.
will still continue, and if everyone else agrees, we can delay it further
Okay,
half
sir.
an hour to make it 9:15, which will be convenient to you. Now I have to check with Darshit ji, and then most of them others are in India only, right? Most of them are in India only.
Yeah,
So this
sir,
time will suit.
even 15 minutes. Sir,
Okay, so we'll
okay.
make it 9 o'clock. From tomorrow, we'll make it 9 o'clock. I will announce in the group. Okay. So at least you are covered, and you are only attending the classes. So we don't have to care of the others who are not attending the classes. Okay. And we will try to finish by 10:10, something like that. Okay. 5 minutes earlier. No problem. Okay. So we'll see tomorrow. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र.